You know, I stepped out onto my driveway that crisp autumn morning in Oak Ridge Meadows, Texas, steaming coffee mug in hand, figuring it'd be another lazy Saturday wrenching on my '68 Mustang, the one I'd poured my heart into since I was a kid, every rusty bolt a piece of me. And there it was. My baby, smashed to bits, front end crumpled like a tin can, windshield a jagged mess of cracks, and I just knew, deep in my gut, this was no accident. This was that slimy HOA president, Marcus Blackwell, trying to muscle me into his little kingdom with a cowardly hit and run. I'm Jack Harlan, just a regular guy who'd carved out a quiet life in this sleepy suburb for the past 10 years, a modest house with a garage big enough for my tools and my dreams, away from the noise of the world. But Marcus and his Summit Ridge HOA crew had turned my slice of peace into a battlefield, thinking they could bully me because I wouldn't play their game. What they didn't count on was me having an old buddy in law enforcement, a stack of evidence I'd quietly collected, and this burning resolve that said enough is enough, no more turning the other cheek to tyrants who think they own the neighborhood. It all started innocently enough, or so it seemed when I first moved in. Oak Ridge was this laid-back spot where folks mowed their lawns on weekends, waved from their porches, and minded their own business. No drama, just good old American suburbia. I'd saved up for years to buy that fixer-upper. And the Mustang? Man, that was my therapy, my escape. Late nights under the hood, grease on my hands, radio playing classic rock, forgetting about the stresses from my day job as a mechanic downtown. But about 4 years back, some big-shot developers swooped in, buying up the lot next door, and suddenly there were these glossy flyers in my mailbox about the Summit Ridge HOA, all about enhancing community standards and boosting property values, which really just meant paying dues for rules nobody asked for. I tossed them in the trash, figured it didn't apply to me since my place predated their fancy enclave. But then, one sunny afternoon, there's a knock at my door, and standing there is Marcus Blackwell himself, suit tailored sharp as a knife, hair gelled back like he was auditioning for a villain role, extending a hand with that fake charm smile. "Jack," he says, gripping my hand a tad too hard, like he was testing me. "We're building something real special here at Summit Ridge. Join us, keep things tidy, or, well, complications arise. You know how it is." I pulled back, arms crossed, staring him down. "Not my style, Marcus. My house, my rules. Thanks anyway." His smile stayed plastered, but those eyes, they turned to ice, and he muttered, "Your call, neighbor," before striding off, leaving this uneasy knot in my stomach like I'd just poked a hornet's nest. The trouble crept in slow at first, those petty jabs that make you question if you're paranoid or if someone's really out to get you. My trash bins mysteriously toppled every Tuesday, garbage strewn across the drive like confetti from a bad party, anonymous notes in the mail with the HOA logo nitpicking my lawn for being a quarter-inch overgrown, or claiming excessive noise when I'd been at work all day, hammering away on engines miles away. I'd stand there on my porch, coffee going cold, staring at my yard, neat as a pin, no worse than the Joneses next door, and feel this simmer, this quiet anger bubbling up, because it wasn't about the grass or the noise, no. It was Marcus flexing his power, wanting me to bow down, pay his fees, let him dictate how I lived on my own damn property. I ignored it mostly, shoved the letters in a drawer, told myself they'd tire out, but then they ramped it up, got sneaky. One stormy evening, my lights flicker out, whole house dark as a cave, while every other home on the block shines bright like Christmas. Utility folks say someone canceled my service in my name, forged docs and all, and when I march over to that gleaming HOA office, looks like it cost more than my mortgage. There's Marcus behind his oversized desk, leaning back with that smug grin. "Power troubles, Jack? Members get priority. Join up, we'll fix it quick." I slam my fist down, leaning in so close I can smell his cologne. "You fix this now, Marcus, or I swear..." He just chuckles, shrugging like it's a joke. "Your move, pal." That night, lying awake in the dark, generator humming outside, I felt this violation, like they'd invaded not just my home, but my sense of security. All because Marcus had this ego trip, this need to control everything, stemming from his failed real estate deals or whatever demons drove him to lord over folks like us. But the real gut punch came that October dawn, air fresh and cool, leaves crunching underfoot. I swing open the door, toolbox in one hand, ready to tune the Mustang's carburetor, and there she is, wrecked, hood bashed in like it had taken a battering ram, Glass everywhere, sparkling in the sun, bumper hanging limp. My mug slips, coffee splattering my boots, but I'm frozen, heart racing, not fear, oh no. This white-hot fury rising because this wasn't random. This was war. Marcus crossing a line he couldn't uncross. Attacking the one thing that kept me grounded after losing my dad young. The car we'd dreamed of restoring together. I rush inside, boot up the laptop, pull the security cam feed. Cheap setup from the hardware store, but crystal clear. And at 2:47 a.m., this black SUV with the Summit Ridge sticker creeps up, idles, then accelerates hard, slamming into my Mustang once, twice, metal screeching like a banshee before peeling out. I replay it, hands trembling, but it's not shock anymore. It's clarity, this fuse lit. And I grab my phone, dial an old Army pal, Detective Sarah Klein, who'd cracked corruption rings before and owed me one from fixing her truck back in the day. "Sarah," I say, voice low and steady. "These HOA bastards just totaled my car. Got it on tape." She pauses then. "Send it over, Jack. I'm diving in." From there, things snowballed. Sarah shows up by lunch, badge gleaming, eyes sharp as she circles the wreckage, watching the video on loop. "This ain't vandalism, Jack. It's a racket, extortion, the works. Give me everything." I hand over the pile. Letters, outage logs, even forum posts where Marcus brags about purging non-compliers, and her team unearths the dirt. HOA siphoning funds into personal pockets, bogus fines to force sales below market, threats to old-timers like Mrs. Ramirez down the street, who'd whispered to me once about Marcus cornering her at a meeting, hissing, "Sell now or face lions that'll bury you." It all tied back to Marcus's greed, his ties to those developers, turning our community into his cash cow, resenting independents like me who reminded him not everyone bent the knee. By dawn the next day, squad cars swarm the office, files carted out, neighbors peeking from curtains as Marcus stumbles out, tie askew barking, "This is a mistake, call my lawyer." He spots me across the road, arms folded, and yells, voice cracking with desperation, "Jack, come on, let's hash this out man to man." I saunter over, peel off one of his violation stickers from my pocket, slap it square on his chest. "Violation. Thinking you could break me, Marcus, game's up." The cop snaps the cuffs, shoving him in the cruiser, his face twisting in rage and defeat. Pure poetry. The fallout hit like a storm. Charges flew. Fraud, intimidation, destruction of property, the HOA bankrupt from lawsuits, signs ripped down, office boarded up. Neighbors opened up on the local news, stories flooding out, 1,500 fines for unauthorized bird feeders, families hounded until they fled. And my fees? Covered by the settlement. I snagged that SUV at auction for peanuts, gutted it for parts, rebuilt the Mustang stronger. And when that engine roared back to life, it was like exhaling a breath I'd held too long, freedom revving under my feet. The block transformed, folks chatting over fences again, Mrs. Ramirez planting wildflowers without fear, me firing up backyard barbecues where kids ogle the car and parents swap tales of the old regime. But a month back, this envelope slips in, some new alliance with that same oily tone, signed Monsieur Baxter, smelling like Marcus slithering back under a fake name, maybe out on bail, hungry for round two. I forwarded it to Sarah, who's on the scent, but it got me thinking. Did I push too hard, dismantling his world for wrecking mine, or was it justice served cold, the bully finally tasting his own medicine? What about you? Ever faced a power-hungry neighbor turning your haven into hell? Drop a comment. Was I right to fight fire with fire, or should I have walked away? Share your stories. Hit subscribe if you dig real talk on standing your ground, and let's unpack these community clashes. Your take could spark the next big convo.